Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. I hope you had a great weekend. However, troublesome news all through the weekend. So many different fronts, and quite frankly, these are almost like different times. On the one hand, look at the situation, rising insecurity in the southeast. It's not just the southeast. Look at the situation in Kaduna, the Greenfield University situation. It's not as if, and then there's the whole Minister Pantami affair. I guess there's a sense in which we have our work cut out for us. But I mentioned Minister Pantami. You know, as you know, the presidency has spoken. Mr. Garba Shehu, speaking for the presidency, had said that, in a nutshell, this was a long time ago. Mr. Pantami's views have changed, and government was standing by him. So this whole matter about a resignation or not doesn't come into the matter. In fact, Mr. Garba Shehu went as far as saying that the problem really is those who cannot forgive. You know, those kind of people are real problems in this country. However, that to one side, I don't know that we'll have as much time as we'd like to deal with it, because the other pressing one is the Imo State situation. Now, to quickly introduce my guests, we've got Mr. Barrister, everybody knows he's a lawyer, Onyekachi Ubani. Monday, Onyekachi Ubani.
Yeah,
Good morning, sir.
Chief, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for coming on, as always. Did you say I should correct myself to Chief?
Yes, you have always been a chief on television.
No, I thought you said I should say Chief Monday Onyekachi Ubani.
God forbid.
And good morning to you, sir. Tony Ofoyeta, our other close friend in the house, DG International Institute of Professional Security.
Thank you, Uncle Yari. Good morning. Good morning, Nigerians.
Indeed. I think I should put doctor for you, Tony.
Very well.
Yes, doctor is okay for you. You earned it. Dr. Tony Ofoyeta, DG International Institute of Professional Security. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming as always. And we also hope to be speaking with Mr. Declan Emelumba, the Imo State Commissioner for Information and Strategy. Of course, the governor's house was made a target. The attack was foiled. Unfortunately, there were fatalities. It depends on what version you're listening to. Anywhere between 1 and 3 policemen actually, you know, died in service defending that particular location. But let me start quickly, because I imagine there's a lot. Give me your impression. Whereas, Onyekachi, you are not from Imo State, but then you're next door. You might as well be, so to speak. Right. In other words, you're quite close to the action and the location. What do you think? We've never had it this way before. First of all, they hit the police headquarters, they hit the correctional centers, and now this kind of action. What does all of this seem to indicate to you?
Yeah, it indicates that they're becoming braver by the day, becoming more brave, and they are doing this with so much impunity. If after how many weeks it's alleged that some certain persons, you know, invaded the correctional center and released prisoners, as I speak to you, we don't know who the people are. It's clearly a failure of governance. It's clearly a failure of security arrangement in the country. If after how many weeks Nigerians are not aware of those who carried out the raids and the destruction and even the release of the prisoners. So these guys are coming with so much impunity. If you, the government that is clearly in charge of governance, cannot pinpoint who the people are. Now you are hearing different versions. The governor is saying it is the politicians that are clearly, you know, precipitating what is playing out in his state. The police authority is saying is the ECN, that is Eastern Security Network. So there are contradictory evidence, you know, being dished out, you know, and the people are completely, we are at, you know, really at a point that we can't understand what is actually playing out. If the government of the day cannot pinpoint, you know, with their investigation, with all the things they have by way of intelligence, tell us who are actually the perpetrators of the crime. So these guys are becoming braver. So what they did now next on Saturday is something you consider, you know, sacrilegious, you know, going to the governor's house with all the security arrangements that are supposed to be in place, protecting the governor's home, They were able to burn several cars and even destroy properties in the home of the governor. So it gives you an impression that no place is safe, nowhere is sacred anymore, and no life can actually be guaranteed in Nigeria. That is what I see in the entire scenario that's playing out.
Indeed. Let me come back to you. See some pictures of it there. Tony, the things that Onyekachi was saying there, that these people are operating with apparent impunity, doing all these things because they seem to know that they can get away with it. Look, of course, the first, security is everything in anybody who's a government or a governor. What is the part of security? Because they don't know who has done this. I thought security professionals don't take all this time not knowing. You have to give us something better than that, even as you are doing your best. It still will not be enough if people can come in, hit, disappear into thin air, and then we come on television and we're saying that as of now, we don't actually know.
Well, I think if I have to look at it, let's say as an investigator, I want to put in a lot of variables, the most probable, the very remote, and the probable. If you look at it vis-a-vis what has been happening, I've explained a little bit of what a sleeper cell is on this program severally. And I said that a sleeper cell is anybody that is sympathetic to the cause of terrorism and that in strategic positions, either in National Assembly, police, I mean, name it. Now, having laid that foundation, now, if you are going to agree with me, it is impossible for the intelligence agency to say that they don't know or they don't have feeler of those that are most probable of committing such crime. Now, having gone by antecedent of situations where governments are not involved and they need to do their job thoroughly, I will tell you that in less than 48 hours, they will arrest everybody, let's say almost everybody involved in it. But when you have situation where government or government functionaries who are in strategic position are involved in the act of violence, investigation becomes very impossible. Why? Because there will be distortion, there will be cover-up. And if you look at what is happening in the Southeast today, there have been a counter-accusation and counter-accusation on the issue of the attack on the correctional center. You have a lot of attack of policemen, even on checkpoints, that have been killed and their guns and all those stuff. And as we speak today, I'm not even talking of that of the governor's house. That of the governor's house to me is, as much as I sympathize with him, it's inconsequential. We are talking of the overall good of the Southeast as it is now. You will now discover that the battlefield is gradually moving into the Southeast, and what you are having now is just a test of the most probable resistance from the Southeast. Now, those that are backing the terrorists are those that are saying, do this. Let's see to what extent they will be able to resist. Now, the ECN and the Eastern Security Network came on board, and you will discover, you look at the opposition, where did it come from? It came basically from the political class. Basically from the political class. Then when you now have the Ebubeagwu or whatever it is now look at Ebubeagwu, look at the way it is being handled vis-a-vis the way Eastern Security Network is being handled. You will discover that Ebubeagwu is more or less like a brainchild of government. The other one is a brainchild of the people. Now the accusation is that it is connected with IPOB. Now, if you look at the activities of Ebubeagwu over time, and vis-a-vis the acceptance from the people, counsel is from the others, he knows it very well. So he will be able to...
You're not in court, too. You're not in court.
No, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, my very senior. He's my boss. So, when you find it very easy to call him by name. I find it very difficult. He's my boss. So you will discover that talking about the true protection of lives and property lies where now? In the Southeast. There's this dichotomy now between the Ebubeagwu and the Eastern Security Network. One is acceptable to government, the other is acceptable to the people to a large extent. Now, if these two come to play, for example, which one will be more effective? Now, you see, my own fear about what is happening in the Southeast is they should not, because it's going to lay justification for the militarization of that zone if it is not taken care of now. And once that zone is militarized, it will give higher excuses and higher reason for bandits to truly operate. Why? Because you have high level of military camouflage all over the country as we speak now. There's high level of arms proliferation of small arms in the country. Now we no longer know who is going to be the real army and all those stuff like that. It is still manageable now. And that is why,
if we bring the will to bear,
the governors,
yes,
the Eastern governors are able to be sincere.
You know, this Onyekachi, bringing the Ebubiago thing to you that he touched on. I think I was reading Senator Ojus Okalo saying that as far as I think words to the effect of that it's not of very much consequence. What's his considered opinion? I guess he has problems or issues with how it is being organized. But that point about the authorities know, in fact you hear it quite often, that the police know quite a fair bit. It suits them to, you know, when it suits them, they will do it. I was just, you know, they will come out with it. I don't know what you think about this whole situation, because everybody is very, very concerned about, as he said, the Southeast spreading into elsewhere, and they are behaving with reckless abandon as if they know. I like the way he put it. Maybe they're testing the limits. Yeah. And I don't know if that were indeed one of their strategies. Testing the limits, I don't know what this has now shown to them. That you can virtually walk over the place.
The Bible says, in all you are getting, get wisdom. There is a larger sinister motive that is playing out in the southeastern region. That if the eastern elders cannot sit down and decipher and read the handwriting on the wall and see what we can do to nip this in the bud, we are in for bigger crisis in the southeastern region. It's not a prophecy. This is a reality. It started like this in the northeast. You know, they start testing the ground, and before you know it, everyone now is a victim in the south. I mean, in the northeast. You know, now they started with, remember, the institutions. They invaded it. Now they have tested the governor's home. The next thing now may be banks, and then larger, you know, every other person. Even within the weekend, yesterday, I heard that they shot at motorists. It has become as if we are now, you know, watching a movie where people, even on the streets now, will be a target of this, you know. So what we are saying, there is a larger sinister motive that is being scripted and is being played out, you know, gradually. That if people who are elders and political office holders in the southern eastern region will not read the handwriting on the wall, it will clearly consume everyone if we don't nip it in the bud now. Because and let me tell you what is actually playing out. He rightly pointed out there is a ground now that is being set for militarization of the southern eastern region. They tested the ground on Saturday by killing some certain persons, you know, who they allege were involved in the correctional center incident. Now, the right thing to do with people who you allege have committed a crime is to get these people alive and let them pass through the judicial process in which some of these things will be learned. Whether they, yes, are you following me? But you eliminated them. You killed the leadership, according to you, the person that was involved, who is leading the command. So these are the kind of things, you know, that is clearly scary. The next thing now is that they can tag you that you are a terrorist and then eliminate you because you have allowed the military to come in. You have allowed the police to come in to begin to do some level of lawlessness, you know, because of the so-called lawlessness that is playing out. So they have to put, you know, put law and order in place. So we should not allow it. The eastern leaders, the political office holders, and the stakeholders in the entire eastern zone must sit down now to know the sinister motive that is being hatched and being planned and being executed so that they can nip it in the bud. So they should not allow this to continue. If it does, everyone is going to be a victim. No one is going to be spared. Look at what is going on in the northeast. Look at what is going on even in the entire north, you know. If it comes to southeast, if it comes to southeast,
Even this morning, there was some circulations on social media to the effect that even in Lagos here, at Bogbon, towards Lekki, people are being robbed in broad daylight with no policemen to come to the rescue. People are being dispossessed. All this is small fry. But could this not also be some sort of a testing of the ground? I'm going to come back. Excuse me, Tony. I'm going to come back to you. But let's get we have a package report on the whole, Imo situation. Let's come, and then I'll come straight back to you.
Barely 24 hours after Governor Hope Uzodinma accused politicians of sponsoring banditry to destabilize the government of President Muhammadu Buhari, his country home at Omoma came under heavy attack by unknown gunmen. In the attack, 3 security personnel were killed, cars also razed, but none of the buildings were affected. This road leads to the house of Governor Hope Uzodinma that was attacked early hours of today by unknown gunmen. Although effort to have access to the place was proved abortive by security agents on duty. Although residents here are calling on government to step up security to forestall future eventuality.
They drove in hopes and they used those tipper to hit the gates and to come in there. We are not safe anymore here. They burned down all the vehicles.
This morning we are in the alert because many people pass, criminals pass and went there and shoot one policeman, enter Hope's house. Enter there, burn all the whole cars where they did.
I am appealing to the federal government to put more tightened security to make sure that all these hoodlums are tracked down. We are living in fears.
What happened was that...
For Commissioner for Information's view, support the governor's earlier thoughts on the possible involvement of politicians in worsening the insecurity in the country.
Preliminary investigations point to the fact that the thing was politically sponsored. So, but no conclusions yet. His Excellency has already directed that investigation on the matter should be expeditiously handled, and that both sponsors were applicable and the agents should be quickly apprehended and brought to justice.
This latest attack on the residence of the governor is coming 19 days after the prison gates were thrown open, freeing inmates, and the headquarters of the State Police Command was destroyed by unknown gunmen. The situation in Imo State may not be wide apart from other states in the southeast part of the country, where security of lives and property is under increasing threat. Prince Oba, TVC News, Omoma.
Thanks to Prince for that report that first went out on Saturday over the weekend. I interrupted you, Tony, but I also want to bring something out of that report. Unknown gunmen. What is so-called? We're dealing with a government here. Unknown gunmen.
Anyway,
if things of this scale is happening and we're hearing it was done by unknown gunmen, what is the hope?
Well, the hope is Uzodinma. Anyway, you see, Uncle Yori, not trying to scare Nigerians, but the truth is that Nigeria as a nation is under siege. And you see, the earlier we get to understand it, the better for us. If you, right where you stay, Uncle Yori, in your own domain, you look at these people that sells all this manner of whatever, ride bike. You speak English to some of them. You speak Hausa to some of them. They don't even understand the Hausa language. Where do they stay? Where are they from? If they commit a crime, how do you apprehend them? How do you identify them? 10 of them can bear the same name. The same name. 10 of them can bear the same name.
But,
and look at it,
but
Uncle
that is
Yori,
on the one hand.
Wait, Uncle Yori, in the evening, I'll give you an example. You go to a place like Magboro here, in the evening, you can have up to, I'm not exaggerating, you can have up to 300 of them. Some of them will lie on the bike, and that's all. Now the question is this, who brought them to Lagos? Who gave them money to buy those bikes? They work every day. Everything about them from head to toe is not up to 1,000 naira. And they work every day and they make a minimum of not less than 5 to 10,000 naira in a day. But every blessed day, they don't have a home they stay. They don't have a family of their own. They don't have anything to identify them at the end of the day. Now that is on one hand. It's on one hand, because I was going to say that's on one hand. Yes. The situation over in the southeast is not similar, is it? It is. Now let me tell you, see, these are foot soldiers if we don't actually tell ourselves the full truth. Okay. Because when it comes, that is when you will know that. If you take for example what happened in my 12 recently, these same boys were the people that were coming out with dangerous weapons. Okay, one moment. I'm going to come back to you, and because Kesandu has been waiting, and thank you very much for doing so. Kesandu, good morning, sir.
Uncle Yuri, good morning.
Thank you for calling.
Good morning, Dr. Tony and Barrister Wenkachi.
Good morning, sir.
I called from Imo State this morning, sir.
Okay.
You see, Uncle Yuri, I want us to be sincere about this whole thing. Like your two speakers, they've spoken so well. The major challenge we're having is that there is high levels of insincerity on the part of our governors. Uncle Yuri, remember vividly the day you the commissioner from Ebony State, and even the day our commissioner for information spoke here, they were so lackadaisical towards this whole thing. They were treating the whole thing with kids' gloves. Remember when you even and I told you, this is almost 2 weeks or 3 weeks that they came to Imo to tell you that they are opening, establishing a Bubago. What have we seen on today? Like Dr. Tony rightly said, the true position is that these our governors are just primus inter pares. Their lives are not more than that of a man from my Isubo local government. It's not worth more than that. And we said this thing when it was happening in the north. Come down home, please politics. Do as the Southwest have done. Let us see how we can come together. Keep your political parties aside. Let us find ways to secure this environment. They were playing with politics. These men are just merely reactive and not proactive. Okay, this thing has happened to Governor Hope Uzodinma, and they ran to have a stakeholders meeting the other day. That is what we see from our governors. This is no longer acceptable by the people. You know, now, yesterday, we had gunshots, people are being robbed somewhere at Oji. Is this how we're going to be living? People will not live with their two eyes open, not even closed. Yesterday, also, I could not sleep at night. I was just coming out to peep through the window because I'm not even sure of myself anymore. What are we asking of these governors? Their primary responsibility is to protect the lives and properties of the citizens. It is not too much to ask of. All we want is sincerity of people, sincerity of the part of governors. Calm down, sit back, stop going to Abuja, sit back home and squash this issue. If nothing is done, I'm afraid what we're heading to. Nigeria is not a failing nation. Nigeria is a failed nation. I'm not sounding pessimistic. But Mr. President and this government will smoke up to this responsibility. God bless Nigeria. I am not happy this morning. Thank you very much, Kesandu. Indeed, quite a number of people are also as apprehensive as you are. Onyekachi, what would you advise to this situation? Because it looks like, unless they quickly prove to the contrary, that the whole government apparatus is being overwhelmed. If you can walk in and walk out, first in the correctional center, the police headquarters, and now in this instance where you take on the face of the state, the governor, and we're still talking a couple of 3 days after as unknown gunmen. All of these don't help psychologically, even though a lot might be going on the ground that we don't know.
Chief Yuri, this is a build-up. You know, several times we've been here, and I tell you about this nation. If you remember vividly, I say something has to hit Nigeria for Nigeria to really wake up from slumber. That has been a build-up. It's a build-up. We predicted this and that to happen one day. If we don't do the right thing in terms of good governance, in terms of providing employment, in terms of quality education and basic infrastructures, lights, so that people can be busy. I have said it here, a bit of it last time you invited me here. That is a correlation between crime, and economic poverty. When there's so much economic poverty in a land where people have no job they are doing, they tend to commit crime. They tend to be used easily for crime. Build people up, put them in employment, create employment opportunity. The governors have done nothing. Okpara, who was the premier, regional, the premier of Eastern region, had many industries established in the entire Eastern region. For how many years that he was in power? I'm talking about Port Harcourt, down to Cross River and all those places, and then, Umahi and all that. Many industries, ceramic industry. breweries, many things that this man did. These governors have been in power since 1999 today. There is no single industry in any of the regions where you have this teeming population. When they graduate, they can, you know, fit in. So you are raising an army of people that can easily be, you know, led into crime, and that is what is.
Well, that's on the one hand.
So these are larger. I'm talking about it's a build-up.
Yeah, but
you asking me what do I advise?
The prescribed organization, IPOB.
Yes.
Does this also apply to them?
So most of them have no jobs.
That's why they remain listening.
Yes. Now, so I go to East, and I see a lot of in my village. So many of them have nothing they're doing. They will come for you to empower them. You know, it's not when you have money, you begin to empower, you know, and all that. Little we can, you know, you do. But so many of them have nothing they're doing in terms of employment, in terms of even good education. So we are saying that these things have, you know, have built over time. But the immediate solution to all this now, sir, is that the security agency must live up to its responsibility. Or, if they cannot, let everyone be allowed to carry his own gun. Okay. Yes, yes. If you cannot protect me.
Mr. Yakub, good morning, and thank you for holding on.
Yeah, it is very good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling.
And Mr. Obana and then Mr. Ofoyeton, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Dr. Ofoyeton.
Dr. Ofoyeton, good morning, sir. Thank you for correction. GTOE, you see, Nigeria is sitting down on the gunpowder. You know why? Don't let us even go far, GTOE. Here in Lagos, I repeat, if you go close to Ile-Koja, GTOE, you will see some guys doing nothing. In fact, passing through them, you'll be fear for your life. In fact, the way they will be looking at you, you'll be afraid that, is it something going to happen to me? And then not only even Lagos, there are so many we are in Lagos like that. But I would say that, Chief Ofoyeton, this question is to you, sir. Do you think that we really need external help? That is number one. Number two, here in Lagos, sometimes ago, the custom agents, they arrested some armed ammunition from Apapa, and then they made it clear to Nigerian citizens that this ammunition is they imported it to this country. Up to today, Shifari, as a news person, I want to ask you, Shifari, again. Do you know where the case ended to? Who brought this ammunition to this country? Who sponsored the ammunition to this country? Where the ammunition going to? And then the people that they got arrested that time, who prosecuted them? Did Nigeria know where they headed to? A lot of things going on, go wrong.
Yeah.
Idris Deby is going down. Yeah. And then this is Idris Deby that helped Africa to fight Boko Haram. It came to this country, purchased emerald from Remo here, 100 emeralds to fight Boko Haram. Nigerian government does not have 100 emeralds. They are producing here in this country. So what are we talking about? It is only God Almighty will help us.
Indeed.
So all the government in Southwest, they should come together again, including the Southeast. They should come together again, provide the security by themselves, including Nigeria. Nigerian government should be looking inward in order for us to be sleeping on our eyes too close.
Okay, you're virtually answering your own question as to whether we require external assistance for our security or not. But while Tony is tackling that problem, he might also want to include, because he's also in Lagos here, the report that's going around this morning on social media that Akpogbo, the ramp Falomo into Ikoyi or whatever, that Falomo bridge, that people are robbing with impunity there. Now, the point has been made often on this program that we don't have enough policemen, we don't have enough security. And it looks like the security, the robbers are also making use of this information. How many places can the police be? So what are we really, what are we really up for in this society, from the north to the south to the east to the west?
I think one of the major solutions to lack of adequate personnel is the use of technology. The use of technology can really fill in the gap. Yes, we concede that there are areas where technology may not be able to function adequately, having also identified some of the weaknesses or challenges, like power, like everybody will say. But technology is one. Now the issue of, do we really need foreign help? The answer to me is no. What we need basically will be the right government in place.
Okay.
If we have the right government in place, I will tell you the first thing that will fizzle out, those that are sponsors of terrorism, they are in Nigeria. Now, why I say they are in Nigeria, it's not because we have terrorist sponsors outside the country, but they will only make use of internal machineries, internal officers,
Hello.
government functionaries.
Ada, good morning. 1 second.
Good morning.
Let him land. One sentence, please. Let him just land.
Okay.
So you see, if you have a situation where the government itself have the true political will to fight terrorism, as we speak now, I don't know of tomorrow, but this present administration, I cannot see the true political will to fight terrorism.
Okay, Ada, take it away.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Yori. Good morning to Barrister Obani and Dr. Tony.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. What is happening is beyond Southeast issue, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
My fear is that I hope we won't have another Boko Haram there. With this extrajudicial killing that has happened now, that was exactly what happened in Borno when they killed Mohammed Yusuf. I listened to a map or what, the Afghan whatever, on channel yesterday when we were interviewing him, and he said a lot of things that are so scary. So what am I trying to say here? Leaders need to be honest with themselves and to the larger society. It's no longer time to live in denial or to pretend all is well or to keep playing the ostrich. For us to get it right, let us go back to the national confab. Let us remember the recommendations made in that confab. If we have done it, we won't be where we are today. Some people said it's in the archive. Let them go back to the archive and go and just sit. Before we become a failed state or a theater of killing, the dose has gone beyond the elbow as far as I'm concerned. Remember when Twitter removed its headquarters to Ghana or what? One of the ministers told us that because we are the ones demarcating our country. Look, which one is demarcating? Go over and Google it. You see a long list of all the things that happened over the weekend. Is that not enough to scare investors to come? So all I'm saying is that another thing to do is that let us restructure this country, give you for state police, equip the security agencies, and the way it is now, I think we need help. We need help.
Yeah.
There's no point pretending. God bless Nigeria. Let's not deal with this country. That's my take this morning.
Thank you very much for calling in, Ada, with your contribution. If we are really going to be sincere, then we'll begin to, get better results. So we have been told by commentators quite frequently.
That's right.
Look, we have issues, we have challenges.
That's right.
It might seem like I'm diverging a bit, but look at the case of Mr. Minister Pantami.
Yes.
Before you become a minister, the SSS, they vet you. Yeah. The National Assembly, it checks you out.
Yeah.
Now, the gentleman scaled all those hurdles.
Yes.
And it is only now that we have woken up and are saying that, well, because he was a radical. So the point I'm making about that, so that it's not too far removed from there, is that the very security apparatus that we are talking about now, that we need to act for in our favor, is the same one. And they have a way of going about their work. And it is said that there's precious little that those guys don't really know, the security forces. Now, what they do with it is an entirely different matter. So I don't know.
As my brother has rightly pointed out, when the government have not compromised, the security, if they want to work, they will give you all the solution to a problem. But when the government is involved, and then there's no truth, there's a cover-up, government will never. The police will never give you the correct information.
Then who is the police working for?
On Pantami's matter.
Yes.
Of course, you hear the former ex-director of DSS gave us an information that there was a security report that this man is not fit and proper. He said it. He's retired now.
But it was overridden.
Of course.
Let me bring in Opara. Mr. Opara in VI. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Uncle Yori, good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Good morning.
Good morning, Barrister Bani and Dr. Tony.
Good morning, my brother.
God will bless you all for saying the truth.
Thank you.
Continue to shout. Maybe one day God will hear our voice and soften their mind.
Amen.
If the head is okay, the bottom will be okay. Okay, our leaders know the problem of Nigeria and they don't want to adhere to it. Look at the example by Bani has given. Since that day to today, what is different? No different in Nigeria. We celebrated the former Lagos State Governor. For 4 years, what he has done in Lagos. But from that time till now, the rest is just like that. Please tell our government, Nigeria is not working. Let us go to true federalism, or let them restructure this nation Let us have our state police. The government don't want to hear. Let the people secure themselves, because the government now cannot secure us. Please tell them, let them listen to Nigerians. We are fed up.
Okay. All right. Thank you for calling in, Mr. Opara. Where Mr. Opara says Nigeria is not working, that's not the way government sees it. You might say, well, how is it?
It's working for few.
You know, but you see, whatever government knows, government needs to know that what Mr. Opara is saying is the impression, the perception. It might not be the truth, but it is the perception people have simply because of the kind of things that are happening. So I don't know how government now ups its game in addition to what it knows, to the effect that Nigeria actually is working, to now take care of the perception that people have, which is that, quite frankly, it's not a fair place. The kind of most improbable things will happen in this country and nothing will happen.
Uncle Yori, you know...
let me take one more call. Mazi Okorafo, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir Yori. Good morning, Dr. Toria. Good morning, Barrister Obani.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sir Yori and our guests in the studio. What we have to look is that the governors in the eastern Nigeria should look inwards. Yeah, you see, when Omoteke came, it was when arranged, designed, formed, all the finance, everything, has assembled everything. Now you ask yourself, between that time, my people said in Bedike up to today, what is happening? Everything has went on the cooler. What is happening? Now, the thing is this. The terrorists that are happening now, that terrorist attack in the east, what we call them, I should tag them as home-breed political talks. What we have by home-breed political talks, these are talks used that time for everything. Now they have come back now. That's why, if you listen to my program last, I said that what the governors are doing right now in Nigeria, it will still bounce back to the what's called boomerang effect. How do we solve this problem? The governors, not only Eastern Nigeria, should go back and examine themselves. All those people they recruited within themselves, they should call them one by one and settle them. That's number one. Number two, the soldiers and whether soldier or police, Nigerian authorities to carry one man, you just carry up to 5 security men or 6 to guide him, even the masses, which is not heading. But the thing is this, the way the youths are moving now in Nigeria, it's not healthy. One, nobody's coming to invest under this condition. That's number two. Parents have allowed their children to be engaged in all these vices, which is not healthy, that is detrimental to the society as well. Bob everywhere in Nigeria take to them. There are places you go that even they kidnap people up to today, people cannot sleep. Exactly. You see, that's why you go to office, see people sleeping in the office. Yeah. Because at home they cannot sleep because of insecurity in their own environment. Even people in the market. The gentlemen in the studio, please, I just want to ask you now. What advice are you going to give the governors now? Because the governors, local government, they are the people that are discussing all these problems. Because if they have gone into the office through the right channel, all these problems will not happen in Nigeria. Everybody just close back and be looking at blaming federal government, blaming the soldiers. Now, when you bring soldiers and come and ravage open, what do you expect back? It will still bounce back to you. Or you can bring higher security to come and arrest somebody because he said something that is positive because you didn't like it. What do you expect? It will not bounce back.
Okay,
the people will not say the truth and say the truth. The people say that, what are they doing? They close their mouth and allow this thing to be happening. Look.
Okay, Mazi, thank you very much for calling in. It's so frustrating. I wouldn't go as far as Mr. Opara in saying that Nigeria is not working, but it is very difficult. All of us in Nigeria know. The regular guy, you know, Nigeria, it's not impossible, but it is quite difficult. Fear is the last thing that the government should allow to set in. But people are saying that they are not able to sleep with both eyes closed now.
Uncle Yori, Nigeria is working for you, but I tell you this, for the majority of Nigerians, Nigeria is not working. That is a total... yes, I know, you're a big man. Things are okay for you, sir. Don't you see your suit? That is clearly, there is disillusionment. That's what they call a disenchantment among majority of Nigerians, sir. And anything that will make a man that is disenchanted to carry gun, you know, to go and do certain things, he does not value his life anymore. And that is not the kind of thing that any serious government will want to happen in the country where he's governing. So I am saying, sir, it has gotten to the level now where people do no longer value their life. I mean,
people value their lives, but the people who are attacking them don't have respect. This is El Rufai's complaint.
That's what I'm saying.
They have no respect for
somebody to carry a gun and say, look, I'm going to attack a governor's home, knowing fully well the number of policemen or that will be attacked.
Still be ready.
Beautiful. That means that he doesn't value his life. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Because there is this. So what we're saying is that any government that do not listen to the people, I don't know whether you see any like this television program that is going on. It's live. I watch it. If you see the reactions of Nigerians to what you say, or what anyone say another, you know that there is total disenchantment. So Nigeria is not working. It's only working for few. It's working for only few. So what a government should do, say, what are we not getting right? What are we not doing right? How do we make people to be happy? As long as there is no joy in the minds and hearts of men, there is no way there can be peace in the country.
Okay, actually,
mark my words.
Actually, happy is very far away. If people just were to be
comfortable,
because
and we're not.
It is after comfortable that you
majority are not comfortable.
Ralph in Owerri, good morning, sir.
Good morning, my brothers. Honestly, I'm just speechless and short of words. And when you mention Owerri now, people think of crime.
Yes.
Very unfortunate, though. Before I called you now, there was a robbery attack. Somebody's car was taken away. That's what we're seeing here. Crime has become the fun of the day. But let me warn those who, whether perpetuating, supporting, abating, laughing, there is a saying that they that clap for you in error will mock you in disgrace. I saw a cartoonist, whether the papers or something, somebody that was feeding bottle a snake, very small snake. He kept growing. The next page I saw on that thing was when the snake swallowed the person that was feeding bottle it. This is how they, no, it's not funny, this is how the Somalia, whatever you talked about today, last night, what we're hearing, House of Assembly is on fire. House of Assembly is on fire. Later, there was nothing like House of Assembly on fire. They are robbing Oji. The bullet is flying. Stay under the bed. The old ones, were almost dying out of DP. And it's become fun. The younger ones are learning crime. Crime is now the order of the day. Let's stop this. Mr. President, if you're hearing, please sit up. This country, my brothers, is giving in. And we're all not laughing. It will reach everybody. It will get to every state. Now it's River State, if you're watching. It's River State. Last night along River, now it's here. It's going around. And we keep laughing. See, the darkest part of the night is the time close to dawn. It's hard time we all sit up. Leave politics, leave this nonsense. Because whether it's opposition or whatever, the people that are alive are the people you're going to lead. People are dying. People are scared. People want to leave. Get out of this place. Because of when law, that man that is a lawyer, they talked about pork, peace,
both of them are lawyers.
Governance.
Right.
Outside it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ralph. I beg your pardon. Thank you very much for calling in. Governor Uzodinma is taking it very seriously. He says, in fact, that, he said a fatwa, so to speak, nothing to do with Islam, but that IPOP has put a fatwa on him. In short, all this trouble is politically motivated.
Now, I think with due respect to the governor, if the governor is looking at what is happening in his state from political perspective, he would have gotten it wrong. And that means that his most probable solution will be wrong. Okay. When you talk about the type of security challenge that is happening in the state now, it's not a product of political motivated security issue. These are pure foundational terrorism issues.
They seem to be highly trained.
Pure foundational terrorism issue. And those that are perpetrating the act are agents of terrorists in the true sense. But what they are really doing is look at what the response will be. Now, in terrorism, when you want to introduce terrorist act in any community, what you do is also distortion of the true fact. It's always the instrumentality of propaganda. There's always the instrumentality of distortion. You understand? And of course, it will even shock you that when we talk about sleeper cells are not just little boys. They are governors. They are ministers. You are talking about Pantami, who has been pointed out as being, directly involved in sympathetic act of terrorism.
Before.
Leave the issue of before.
As a young man.
Even Pantami himself now, you are talking of as a young man. Is it different now? Let's be realistic. Not quite long. They had a program in his ministry.
But he has renounced all those views.
When?
Look,
he has renounced them.
When did
now let's
doesn't love Al-Qaeda again. Doesn't love.
Let's leave the issue of whether he has renounced or not. Now, if you are saying that means you are saying he has converted from Islam to Christianity, or to Buddhism, or to, I mean, for goodness sake, let's leave that. I understand your position as a journalist. You want to make sure that your station is not sanctioned.
No,
I understand.
you must balance the balanced.
Yes, you must balance the whole thing. But
is said to have recanted all those views.
Until we start, Uncle Yori, until we start telling ourselves some blunt truth,
okay,
we may not move forward.
Okay, Femi Insurulere, I'm sorry for keeping you waiting, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to your guests.
Yes.
Good morning.
We know what to do in relation to our security problem. We have two problems, security and power. The two are in the hand of the federal government. Let us devolve it down to the state. That's number one. Number two, if anybody supporting murder is a murderer. It's a murderer. Batani have not reported it that he was the imam in that school when that boy was murdered in cold blood in his mosque. And I know, but I'm not a lawyer, but I know that there's no time limit to try a murderer. He had questions to answer in relation to that boy's death. There must be justice. If Buhari and Aisha can come out and face Nigeria and tell them that their first son is killed in a church headed by one pastor Patani, we did not ask for justice. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Femi. In fact, we have very little time left, but the point that we seem to be making is that we're not, it seems the perception is that we're not addressing this with the seriousness that it deserves. Now, my only comment to that is that now, do we have the wherewithal to do better than we are doing at the moment? Very quickly.
We do, sir. We do.
Okay.
We have all the
will. I'll come to you before we close.
Let there be truth. You know, almost all your callers have said it, especially those who called from Imo. Let there be truth, you know, from those who are governing us. Let there be no cover-up. You cannot see that these are the people that are actually hurting you. You now name a different set of people entirely in order to deceive Nigerians. If there is truth on the part of those who are in governance, I can assure you that within a short time, the people that are doing all this in the southeastern region will be they will be found out. Now they are moving towards rivers. You know, they started from Ebonyi. From Ebonyi now to Owerri. Owerri became their this. Now they are going towards river because that's the next port of call. I don't know where they're going from there, you know. So we need to nip this in the bud. And that seriousness on the part of, you know, this in truth will heal all wounds.
You know, did you want to, you know,
no,
let me quickly get, let me squeeze in Mr. Chukwuemeka calling in from Abuja. Good morning, sir. Please be brief.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to Barrister Obani, and good morning to my doctor and the other end.
Dr. Tony.
Uncle Yori, I would like to make my own contribution
very briefly, please.
On the topic we are discussing.
Yes, sir. Very briefly.
Okay, Yori, I've said this time without number that I'm not going to toe the lines of people that blame the federal government. See, when you talk about governance, the government that is closer to the people is the state government and the local government chairman. If these people have failed in terms of providing security, making their place secure, I'm blaming the federal government because every month they have allocations for this. What plan does the government have? You know, remember the last time I called into this program, I made some suggestions. I said, in terms of security personnel, I know we don't have enough, but can we begin to think of how we can begin to leverage on technology, I mean, using technology to police areas whereby our security personnel cannot have access to. So in terms of gathering information,
okay.
I don't know if you are getting me.
I do get you, and your point is made. Your point is made. Yes. I want to thank you very much. We've run out of time, and you know, even Tony is with you because Tony spoke about that at the very top of the program. And so the question I wanted you to answer as briefly as possible is that people think that things are getting out of hand. Is it that the government is helpless, or does it have the wherewithal to do a better job in the perception of the ordinary person?
Well, the government is not helpless, and DSS, the little I know of DSS, they are very thorough in their job. But unfortunately, they are not the people that will implement their own report. It has to go to either the police, the army, and the like.
There always is. They submit it to the political authority.
So at the end of the day, it all comes down to Mr. President. And like I said, and that will be my conclusion, Mr. President, as at now, I don't know of tomorrow, I am not convinced that he has the political will and the interest to truly stop the act of terrorism in this country.
Well, okay. We'll leave it there, but that's your opinion. Not that we share it, but you know, we registered it as Tony Ofoyeton's opinion. I want to thank you very much, Dr. Tony Ofoyeton, DG International Institute of Professional Security, and Barrister Onyekachi Ubani. Thank you very much for coming on as well and shedding light on this whole issue. So that's our program today. Do keep on masking up, keep on maintaining the correct social distance, and keep on abstaining from unnecessary crowds, because the emergency is very much with us. India, where it is today, India was getting better, and suddenly they relaxed, and everything is the way it is, so much so that America, or is it the UK, is now thinking of sending surplus vaccines to India. That's just the way it is. So, God willing, I'll see you tomorrow with a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.